Okay, well, welcome back. We got the third version, third instalment of our Let's Play of our various student games. So, for the last time, Charlie, do you want to just remind people what we're here for?
Yes, of course. So, the task the students were given was to develop a game around a simple core dynamic and then design a level to tutorial that dynamic to the player.
And so I forgot to say, of course, so I'm Dave Millard, and I'm here with Charlie and Ricky, and this is for the Games Design and Development course at the University of Southampton. So Ricky, what games have we got how many have we got to go through in this one?
We've got 5 definites at work and 2 more that we might look at the end or do another Let's Play for. The first one we're going to start with is Maze Warp.
Brilliant, okay.
That's got music.
So we've got some nice music.
And it shows you where the objective is. Good starter.
Which is good.
Okay. You're moving around. It's got sort of revealing information. Interesting part of the information design there. And you've got the skeleton slash zombie.
So so I played this in the expo.
Oh, now there's an interesting idea.
Yeah, it's
short iteration cycles showing you where you went, but you started where you died.
So
you start at the beginning.
So I played this in the expo, and you accumulate these ghosts, and the ghosts can actually do things for you.
Ah, there we go.
So your ghost has opened the door and you're through.
This is nice. This is Braid basically.
It's like Braid, yeah.
Exactly what I said. It really reminded me of Braid, but with ghosts rather than your kind of your time echo. But something odd is going on, and one of the problems is that your ghosts generate these monkeys that look like zombies.
The monkeys.
But the monkeys, as far as I can tell, aren't ghosts. They are active on their own.
Yeah. So
actually, you can get into the situation where it's almost impossible to do anything.
You should have got the bomb, so you could have blown that bit of rock up. Okay, so this is really interesting.
So it's a really nice idea.
So I've played a game like this before. Oh, it's crashed. That's a shame.
Oh, that's a shame. So it didn't crash in the expo. The expo worked pretty well.
Okay, so it might have a couple of lingering bugs.
Go on,
while Ricky's resetting that, so let's think about it. So its core dynamic is chase and evade, but also possibly race to the end. I don't know. It's not a race actually.
It's not a race. It's turn-based.
It's turn-based. So it's possibly a mixture of sort of spatial reasoning and chase and evade. But I think the interesting thing here is they've gone for a very clear aesthetic as well of this sort of adventure, as it were, and they've enhanced that with the visuals they've used.
Yeah.
I think. Oh, it's crashed again. Oh, that's a shame. It's a little bit unstable then. I like the use of the ghosts as part of the puzzle solving mechanic, right?
Yeah.
And that also gives it a short iteration cycles as well. Plays very much with these games like Super Meat Boy and things like that, where you're trying, you fail, try again, fail, try again, fail, try again. I have played a game like this before where you use your ghosts in order to achieve something.
Yeah, I have. I'm trying to think of an example.
I can't remember what it's called, but it's I mean, Braid's the obvious comparison, but it's slightly different to that.
So I mean, I think as a mechanic, it's a really nice idea.
Yeah, very solid mechanic.
So there is some odd things going on. So the fact that you have multiple ghosts, but I think you have a limit of 4. And each time you generate, a new monkey comes on, and the monkeys don't copy; they pursue you.
Yeah,
that's kind of slightly odd.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I'm sort of mesmerised just watching.
So the bananas distract the monkeys.
Yeah.
So you don't have to collect them.
It's quite a complicated puzzle, really.
I was just going to say, for a tutorial first level, this is one of the hardest things I've ever played.
So if you go past that,
no, you'd have to pick it up. Yeah. So actually, you know what I was going to say is this isn't a tutorial. There's no tutorial. Where's the tutorial?
Not at all.
It's a really nicely made game.
The screen pops up tutorial that shows you where the exit is, and then you just get on with the game.
So there are a couple of things that do make it a bit tutorial-like.
Yeah.
So the first thing is you can't get past that first door
without figuring out. You're right. There is an implicit tutorial.
And also the bananas we just looked at there, right? If you just walk past them, they will distract the monkeys, right? So there is stuff that will kind of show you what's going on. But I think you're right. I think it's too complex. They kind of needed to.
Yeah. I mean, it's like so you got the door thing maybe, but It's interesting because there is it's quite frustrating in a way as well though. I can see Ricky getting more and more frustrated.
I found it very frustrating. I was trying to figure out how it was actually working and why sometimes my ghost would open the door and why sometimes it wouldn't and what was going on with the monkeys and all the rest of it. So I kind of think at its core it knows what it wants to be. It's got a really nice idea. It's got the basic elements of a really nice puzzle. I think this level design is too complicated as a first design. And it doesn't really explain anything to you well, apart from this very first thing here, right? Which is the opening door, because you kind of have to do it. You know? And the very first time you play it, you will I mean, little things. So if I remember rightly, when you scroll down to that point of having the lever, you can't see the lever on the right, right? So actually, it's blind luck as to whether you go left or right. And they could have just altered, just little subtle things to make the lever visible. So the first time you played it, you would automatically go to the lever. You then get killed, and then the next time, you've got a chance of then learning. There you are. So you can't see either the door or the lever at this point, right? Whereas I think doing a little bit more with the kind of fog of war, being a bit.
Do you think they've tried to there? I'm wondering if the shorter distance this way encourages you to explore, because I think I went right the first time. I don't know why that is, but I think
maybe
the lack of negative space this side.
They could
might be where I was like.
Maybe they're being more sophisticated than I'm allowing for, but I mean that's quite nice. The fact that the monkey it's long enough that the monkey comes in and traps you. So now you're going to go right. I know now that didn't work. But again, the door is slightly too close. So
that seems like
you have to do that, and that lets them get closer.
So I mean, I think that it knows what it wants to be, but it just the execution could be a little bit. So you've gone for you'd love those bananas.
I'm trying to work out what they're for.
So you ignore
them, and then the monkey will go on to them.
They distract the monkeys.
So it gives you a bit
nothing
more.
That's told me that.
No, exactly. But it's the same with the bomb, right? I've got no idea how you use the bomb.
So I think you go buy the bananas.
So just go straight
down here. That distracts the first monkey.
There you go.
And
but
then go
the first one.
And then go onto the bomb, because now you've got enough time. Because the problem is if you go straight for the bomb, the monkey's too close behind you. So now you can pick up the bomb and get out, and then not out there down. There's like a bit of rocks you can destroy on the right there. But you dropped it.
That rock.
Again, that's not clear.
Not visually different from that rock.
No.
And that rock.
So that one to the right of you there. No, it's not quite. It does look like it's a different.
It's because it's just brambles rather than rocks. That's the thing.
Yeah.
The others are
so subtle, man.
So I mean, we talked about this quite a long time, and I think the reason for that is because it's a game with a lot of potential. And I think with a little bit of finessing, it could be really, really good.
If it didn't crash every 2 minutes.
I mean, all I can say is in the expo it was working. I didn't see it crash once.
Let's leave it there, I think, and move on to another one.
So lots of potential with that one. But
I enjoyed it.
Needs more in the way of tutorial.
Needs more tutorial and needs a little bit more thinking about the level design. I think.
Sure. Right. So good. Earthfall.
Is that this one?
Earthball.
Oh yeah.
Earthball.
Earthball.
That's our name, isn't it?
We made that up because it didn't have a name.
Okay, so
but Earthball is a good name for it.
A total lack of imagination.
Earthball.
It's a ball. It looks like.
Do you know why? Because of the Earth. It looks like the Earth.
Oh, this is the one where you have to roll up down platforms and things.
So let's go for it. So how do we do this one then?
So I marked this one and saw it a few times.
It's like Marble Madness.
Marble Madness.
Okay, but with a little Earth. So they've gone for a sort of spacey theme, which is cool, but
how do you know to jump?
Because I just have played it before.
Okay, right. So there's no obvious. It's not obvious that you can jump, because this is the problem. I think by using a spacey theme, you sort of work against yourself there.
But also because using a ball, because it's got no it's got no mechanism to jump.
Exactly, but balls and planets don't jump. So knowing that you can jump, I mean, you'd imply that you could jump because the gap, I guess.
Oh, so what's going on here?
It's a lift.
Okay.
And a bounce. The red one was bouncing. In case you didn't see that.
Yeah, got you. No, I didn't quite get that.
Okay. So.
It really is bouncy, isn't it? Okay.
Okay. So the core dynamic here is obviously spatial puzzle. It's there's a few bits of it that are quite interesting.
So it's a bit like some of the other games we looked at. Maybe the pacing's a bit off. It feels a little bit slow.
Yeah. Well, the puzzle games are allowed to be slow. But I think this might be frustrating. Oh
It's
god,
not-
and it's possible
it's
to
not-
fall off.
Yeah, puzzle games are allowed to be slow, but it also has that kind of.
It's not.
It's a.
It's not a puzzle game.
It's not. You're
It's
not.
a platform.
Yeah, it's a
you're
platform.
trying to move around.
Exactly. It has a skill element to it. Yeah.
It's like
So maybe actually, rather than talking about being spatial, maybe it's just an escape game, right? It's just an
Yeah, it's difficult to know actually.
So this is the world's longest bridge.
Yeah.
that was extended for debug purposes and then not taken out of the final game.
Okay, good.
I mean, the controls seem to work quite well. You seem to like be in.
Yeah, no, it's
control
it's
of
fun
it.
to control. There's a few things that, like the judging the jumping can be a bit tricky. It
Yeah,
doesn't give you enough practice early on to.
The
to learn
camera
everything.
angles are really odd.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm surprised they didn't have a camera from behind.
Yeah, we said that to them, didn't we? While they're developing it, they had some trouble with the camera angle as well.
Yeah.
I think third person is really.
But it's an odd. So it's kind of your angle is not quite above, not quite.
The problem is with jumping over those barriers, you can't see how high they are. That's the.
And I suppose if they really want to play with height, they want to have a deep sort of, in the Z field. They
You
want to
can
have
actually see the.
so you can see there's a
the height.
platform a long way below or a platform a long way above.
So
Yeah. So I kind
tutorial
of
aspects of
I
the
was just
game.
going to ask you, what did you think of the tutorial aspect?
It did sort of slowly introduce it, as in there's a ramp up, and then there's a small jump followed by some more jumps.
So let's see it. So this is the.
So
the
it makes you go
tutorial
up the
aspect.
ramp by putting that little barrier around you. That's
Yeah.
nice.
Sort of encourages you up the ramp, although you can sort of
you
get
can,
out of that.
you can
if
wander
you
off too.
Yeah.
I kind of.
I said this to them when I was talking to them.
Yeah.
That should probably be the same width as
Yeah.
the
Don't give
thing.
them the option.
Yeah,
I
just
don't-
force them up.
It's not fun to roll around on the floor.
No.
Um,
So in fact, why do you think
then
that
it
floor?
gets to some
Why is that
courses.
floor there?
Sorry. Yeah.
Why is that floor there?
Yeah. Good point. I guess so. So if you
What happens
fall
if
off
you fall
a
off?
bit, then you're alright.
So
So-
if you fall off at the beginning, you'll notice the rest of the level doesn't have that. So
Yeah,
that was
sure.
it. They were
okay.
aiming. They were like, this is a safety net. So if
So it literally is a safety.
literal safety net at the
Yeah.
beginning of the game to
Yeah.
help
Yeah.
you. I
Um,
don't know. I
but-
think
but-
maybe
okay,
just regular
so-
checkpoints would have
so-
solved that.
Yeah, and also, does it really matter when the game's so quick to restart anyway?
So small jump followed by big jump. That's good. So actually, more importantly, ramp followed by corners,
Yeah.
followed by small jump, followed by
Yeah.
big jump.
Yeah.
So it is
So-
ramping up
so
the
it
difficulty.
being-
It's slowly introducing
Yeah.
things,
Introduce each
and then it
type of
starts to
mechanic.
introduce new components. One criticism a bit later on is that it introduces both the bounce and the lift sort
At
of
the
in
same
one
time.
rather than
Agreed,
doing
yeah.
it separately. And there's these barriers as well. The barriers are the most frustrating of the obstacles because the way the view works, it's hard to know, see how to jump over them.
Yeah. So, but on the other hand, it kind of you hit this, you're automatically going to carry on bouncing. You don't have a choice, and you're into the lift.
Yeah.
And they've got that wall there, so you can't bounce off.
Yeah.
So actually, although you're right, they've combined it. They introduce it into a single component
Yeah.
that's almost impossible to fail on, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, if I was playing it, I'm sure I'd manage to fail on it.
So I think they've missed
Longest-
an opportunity here to make this narrower and narrower to start
Yeah.
getting a bit of precision movement.
Yeah.
And that would have been an interesting new mechanic that they wouldn't have. That just needs level design for. It
Yes.
doesn't even need new code or anything like that.
So talking a little bit about the sort of more
So-
artsy parts of the game, part of the game here, the aesthetics in the MDA. Okay,
Yeah.
the aesthetic here is clearly sort of logic. Okay, and they've enhanced that by using a sort of geometric puzzle combined with a sort of sciencey feel. Okay, sort of like helps that to some degree, right?
Yes, yeah, that works.
So they sort of build towards the core aesthetic a little bit using their dynamics.
Isn't the main aesthetic not mastery of
The jumping.
moving.
Yeah.
Moving.
That's right, yeah.
Skills
So
to master.
challenge, basically,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah, it's the challenge aesthetic. You're right, yeah.
It feels like it to me.
So, but again, meaningful play. They've
Yeah.
kind of, it looks like something you can play.
My
The
question
colour coded bits and
is there much choice? Like it's a nice
It's a dexterity
experience.
challenge,
It's a
isn't it?
nice dexterity challenge to
Yeah.
move around, but you don't have routes that you could go down. There's not really any. There's
But
no
that
feedback
may
that
be-
if you do something well,
Yeah.
other than
Yeah.
you get to the next bit of the level.
My
Yes.
feeling here is that the dynamics are quite good, really, and they're quite playable, and it is quite fun. But I think that and the level's been sort of designed quite nicely, but the thing that's letting it down for me is this sort of tutorialing aspect. I think it's not really.
Well,
I thought they introduced the things.
Although
you're right, they introduced
it may be that it's just of all the ones we've looked at, it has the most subtle tutorial. Because it has no explicit tutorial elements. It just does it all.
It doesn't need it. You're right. It doesn't need it.
It does a good job.
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
So I think there's a bit more they could have done. They could have done a bit more then to perhaps make it challenging and to kind of make it engaging. But actually, it introduces all the elements really nicely. It plays well. The level is quite nicely constructed. And they've obviously thought it through.
Yeah. No, definitely from speaking to them, they've put a lot of thought into how to construct this.
Yeah.
I don't always necessarily agree with all the decisions they've made, but they've definitely been thinking about it and trying to apply the theory well. In
the time that people have got, I think the best we could have hoped for, well, there's your safety net. The best we could have hoped for is having something that is a foundation for a really good game.
Yeah.
And this is something that I think you could make into a really, really interesting game with some kind of creative level design and some extra elements put in there.
Yeah, well, it's a lot like Monkey Ball and stuff like that.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Should we move on then?
Yeah, that's good. Okay,
good game.
So that's Earthball, as we called it.
Yeah, and now Clicky Shooter.
Yeah, Clicky Shooter up next. Okay.
Tutorial.
Okay. So I did this one in the expo, so I'll let you guys explore it and see what you think.
Okay.
Pressing return to continue.
So it's a bit odd that you have to intentionally lose your life to carry on.
Yeah, that's a bit strange.
It's a bit strange.
But this is a nice sort of structured tutorial, though. I quite like the idea.
Because the idea is you're supposed to avoid those trolls.
Yeah.
So that's teaching you the wrong thing. Why is it?
Yeah. It tells you
teaching you the consequence of.
If you read the text, it's telling you the right thing, but it's slightly missing it in the actual.
To be honest, I didn't read the text. It needs a visual feedback that's like red or bad or flashing or to tell you that even though you're doing it on purpose there to learn, that was the wrong thing to do.
Yeah. I like the increasing difficulty here. It's ramping up.
Yeah, it's a nice
So one of the things I really liked about this is it has a natural increase in difficulty because those troll heads gradually appear, but they never go away. Yeah. So as the game progresses and it's timed, just naturally there's more and more stuff on screen.
It's like a little maze, isn't it? Yeah.
And the other thing, I don't know if you've noticed, you probably haven't, but the bigger the faces are when you click on them, the lower score they give you.
Okay.
So there's an incentive to get to them and do them quickly.
I remember hearing about that.
I think they could have made that a bit more obvious. So again, I think something that actually flashed up the score when you clicked on them would have been quite good. So you kind of knew, okay, you instantly know.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit of better feedback there.
But you've got very clear stuff at the top telling you the number of lives you've got, the time you've got, the score you've got. You've got this kind of feeling of threading through the spaces to get to the.
I think that's intentional as well. I remember.
Absolutely,
Yes, that's
talking about the
finding.
It is really,
Yeah.
Like underlying this, there's like there is a hidden maze, and the faces, the troll faces can only appear in the gaps. So
it's another spatial puzzle, isn't it? Basically.
Yeah, it is, and really effective.
One thing I have noticed actually, as an interesting tactical puzzle, if you hit a troll face, you destroy it. Yes, you lose the life. So maybe you're actually blasting yourself little gaps in the walls, as it were.
Absolutely, and in fact, in the expo, they mentioned that as an explicit strategy they wanted players to do.
That's interesting that I've picked up on it then.
Because you have 3 lives within the minute.
Yeah.
So you can
say. Spend one.
So one way to think about
it. When you get to the end of the minute.
Your score comes up.
Oh, okay.
So basically, you're right. You've got and you don't get any score for having lives left at the end.
Sure. So you can spend those.
So actually, you really should be blasting holes in them.
Yeah.
And what you're doing is balancing the risk of making a mistake versus the gain from getting rid of the troll's head. So I mean, I thought this was a really simple but very effective little game actually, and it's quite fun. And we were playing it, and a couple of us tried to play it, and we were desperately trying to beat each other's scores, and to see how well we did.
This could make tens of thousands of pounds on the App Store, I'm sure. Seriously, it's a sort of simple game.
Yeah.
With an interesting looking aesthetic. Well, no, because you could touchscreen it. Maybe not.
So if you had a route, if you had to keep a route or something like that.
If it traced the line through it.
So core dynamic then we're saying is kind of
it's a sort of spatial reasoning thing, and I guess it sort of plays that. It's aesthetic. It's difficult to say, but I guess actually really it's sort of building the tensions of franticness, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they do that by making the screen getting busier and busier and more claustrophobic.
And kind of there's also I think a nice contrast between the bright yellow faces and then the very neutral trolls heads that kind of that works. Definitely meaningful play. I think it's actually quite a fun little game to play with a few people. So what about the tutorial and the level design then?
So I liked the tutorial. I thought that was good. Slightly, as we pointed out at the start, slightly sort of inverse by making you click on the trolls.
There's a bit of a misstep, and it teaches you. The text teaches you all the instructions, but what it actually makes you do is.
So the reason they've done that is because they want you to see what happens if you hit a troll's head. But they could do that better, right? Yeah. They could do something by forcing you to go for a solid wall of troll heads.
Exactly.
It's you had to hit one on the way through. Look, that cost your life.
But also,
but
that would have pointed out, right? So if they'd had a troll's head circle with a clicky face on the other side, it would have shown you that you'd have blasted a hole through the circle.
It would have exposed that. So I guess what we're saying is the tutorial's nice, but it could have been improved.
I think so. I think
that's a subtlety. But I think on the whole the tutorial was good. Yeah. We've just found one place where they could have done it.
Okay, shall we move on?
And also worth saying about the difficulty and the fact that the difficulty kind of scales naturally throughout the game.
Yeah,
I think it's quite a nice artifact of it.
Absolutely.
So good job.
Absolutely.
Good job.
Yeah, nice game.
Okay, so Agent Shooter is next.
Agent Shooter. Right.
Welcome to the game.
Welcome. Gotcha.
So this is a classic sort of platform action game, right? In the style of sort of like the original Duke Nukem and things like that, right? It's got this text-based introduction.
Press the arrow key to move. Hit space to jump to platform. Okay.
Right. So now we're gonna.
So quick toggle of USB, and we're off.
Yeah. There you
jump space.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So it's a bit of a shame to have all that up front rather than actually.
Yeah, this is the thing. It's a bit of a cop out. So they've got this sort of as it goes, but again, it sort of breaks the flow of the play, and
you have to take off the. What the hell is that?
It's some sort of monster.
Why is your agent playing monsters?
Yeah,
they're fighting monsters.
What was that?
Alright, so you got a shooty enemy. So
press them down.
So this is the tutorial level, right? It's but the problem is the tutorial as a tutorial, it breaks the flow a lot with that text.
So it's the clicking. It's the fact that you've got to because Ricky's playing this with the keyboard, and every time the thing comes up, he's got to click gotcha. Yeah. He's got to move his hands to the mouse.
Also, I noticed there that you actually technically encountered the enemy that required you to duck just before.
Yeah, you did.
But it's a limited resource.
So you've got to go and pick up more bullets.
Yeah, you've got a pistol whip, or it'll hit you.
Okay. Oh, that's exciting. So you've got stuck on the edge.
So this is a branching level design here, where you just take the easy path or the slow path.
You've taken the hard path,
and been forced to stay in it. That doesn't make sense.
But the part of the problem here, I think, is that your health is just you're not taking any damage at all.
Yeah.
So I am.
Yeah, but by very, very small. So from the point of view of meaningful play, it's meaningless if you fail. Because if you hit the enemy, my suspicion is you could probably run through this game and get hit by every enemy and you wouldn't die.
What happens if you actually hit the enemy? Do they die, or can you do?
I think they die. Yeah.
Yeah. So you probably could just run through the whole game and. So some nice elements. I like the the moving between the levels. They've got both levels have quite a different kind of aesthetic to them. They've got a different feel to them.
But nice. Still sort of consistent with what it's doing. It's got the limited resources. Play well against the destruction theme. Okay, because you're having to consider your violence as it were, but at the same time the enemies are all very destroyable. Plays with the power fantasy idea as well. Really the problem here, I think, is that I'm not sure it enables meaningful play because the game's too easy. So they haven't. I don't think the designers have gone through the design process and balancing process as well as they could. And the tutorial,
the tutorial is way too blunt,
it's too explicit. But I mean, it does do it, right? So it does the job. It's not as there is a tutorial there, but having a tutorial that doesn't
really like that breaks up the flow of the play. That's the problem, right? It's not really properly integrated with the
What's
action.
it feel like to play, Rick? Is it kind of the controls work? Is it a bit sticky?
A bit sticky. The jump's not very nice.
I can see you kind of
the animation running sort of
struggling
okay,
a little bit,
but that's interesting though. It doesn't. You can't actually get past
this first
so you have to
platform.
jump.
So maybe that's interesting in that it's forcing the player to pick up the bullet.
Yeah, well, it's definitely forcing you to get the bullet, but it's also teaching you have to jump.
Yeah,
it just looks a bit ugly. Like
they could have done it as a block rather than a platform.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because it looks like you should be able to get underneath, but you can't.
Yeah. This time you did get the tutorial help, but this is the thing: is that you can just run through them.
Yeah.
You don't have to learn anything.
It reminds me there were these kind of action platformers of the late 1980s.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but they were rock hard, weren't they? A lot of the time.
Yes, they were. But But again, it was at the time. I think the technology was just about getting to the point where you could have sprites of a good size. There was lots of games with really big sprites on screen and kind of doing this kind of thing. So definitely again something that you could build with, but perhaps just lacks a bit of sophistication to both the gameplay and the way that the tutorial.
Certainly. So I think
that
they
made a good attempt at all the things that we asked for.
Exactly, they've done everything. And I think that there's a strength there as well in their sort of central design of their core dynamic. Okay, they've played off that distraction mechanic, and they built that nicely, and that all sort of slots together. But then that's the sort of the first part, and then the second part of designing the level. I mean, I like that they played around with the level by doing that sort of choice, that branching design. Yeah. Okay, it's nice that they've tried that out, but they haven't gone through the balancing process, which really affects the meaningful play of the game, and the tutorial is a bit clunky. Yeah. So should we move on from that?
So our last one for this chunk is the survival FPS. Okay, so here we go. Survival first-person shooter. So hello. So one of the things that strikes, and it struck us just a second ago, wasn't it? Is that these commands come up in the centre, and then you press the buttons and nothing happens. Yeah. Because you have to hit that play button on the top right-hand corner.
Yeah, indeed. It's a sort of locked-in textural tutorial, but it's not very elegant because you sort of don't have control here. The play button's easy to miss.
So it would have been a lot better if they'd started you away, and you had to run towards your objective.
Precisely.
And as you were running, they brought up the controls.
Learn by playing,
and then
rather than just sort of essentially doing an instruction manual in the game.
So here we go.
But here we are. Now we are actually able to interact with the game.
And there's crab things in the.
Yeah.
You got any sound, by the way?
I think there is on this game.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. So crab monsters.
Scorpion thing.
Well, the crab monsters seem to be able to go through the tree there, which was incongruous.
I quite like the use of the red.
Where is that coming from?
Oh, it's still there. Yeah, that kind of red halo ring. That way of giving you feedback.
Yeah, good bit of feedback. Classic as well.
Yeah. Love the chunks.
Yeah. Okay, so it's obviously destruction core mechanic here, and they've done that in a classic way by basically exaggerating the violence.
I like that as well. When you die, you look backwards. There's blood spatters on the screen.
Yeah, blood spatters as well.
Nice.
So they know their core dynamic here, and they've worked with it.
Yeah.
The actual mechanics of the game are quite simple. I think there's a little bit of inconsistency there, and I think the spiders are sort of clipping with the terrain a little bit, but that's mostly an aesthetic thing.
Do you think it's destruction? I think they think it's survival.
Really?
From having, I marked this one, and I remember speaking to them during the development.
What do you get points for? What's your objective?
Yeah, so that's actually the objective is to survive, so to get to the end of the level, basically.
Well, I guess my point being is if the objective was to kill as many of these things and get a high score.
Yeah, it'd be destruction. You're right. So survival typically is about avoidance and surviving against the terrain and things. But the combat is definitely a clear focus here. There is the aspect of you have a limited number of bullets and you're having to sort of like tether out your resources. That is that plays into survival. So I could definitely see the argument for how it supports that.
Where is the end of the level?
presumably once you've killed them all. This is the thing.
Well, but then that would be a
Are
destruction.
they infinitely
Yeah,
spawning or what? I don't know.
That's what I mean. If your goal was to get to the other side of the level without being killed by all these
then it
whatever they are, then it'd be survival. But,
yeah.
so it's not clear to me what you're actually supposed to be doing. I mean, it may be that that's one of the problems here, is that it isn't quite clear what you're doing.
There you go. That made a noise. Oh, so you've got a score at the bottom, so you're getting points for killing the enemies. I've just noticed that. Your level's still 1. Does that go up if you kill enough of them?
So you've also got a little map in the top left-hand corner. That's quite
little mini map. Yeah, exactly. It helps. Good information design. Although what? Oh, the spiders are in it, but they're really hard to see. They could appear.
They're there. They could have been bigger, but
the developers were talking about how the mini map helps you fight, like see where the spiders are coming from.
Yeah, so I mean that's an interesting thing, right? Because one of the problems of this game is obviously because it's first person, you're limited in your field of view.
Where's my total bullets? Do I have a total bullet count?
you've got bullets bottom right, so you've got 0 at the moment.
Yeah, but I keep changing clip.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. I've got 35,000 bullets, so I reckon I'll be here a while.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So that sort of plays against the survival theme as well, because
that's an odd choice, isn't it?
yeah.
Giving you that many bullets.
so they obviously don't want you to run out of ammo
No.
because they haven't put ammo pickups in.
But
But that plays against the side because you're not making the meaningful decision to manage your bullets.
No.
It's just chaos. It's just
So-
which is
So the
fine
only
in
thing
its
it
own
does
way.
you is it gives you a reload pause.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all it gives you.
So it's the click, basically.
So I actually think their
Which is a
core
shadow
dynamics are a bit
class.
confused. I think
Yeah,
they're not
yeah.
quite sure what they're doing here.
I think it's a destruction game with a thin veneer
with
of being survival.
mixed in with
Yeah.
survival, and that's why it doesn't quite
Also
feel
the-
quite right.
We're just returning to it for a moment. The tutorial as well needs to be more involved.
Yeah.
I think just having that sort of text
Yeah.
dump at the start doesn't.
But it seems
necessarily
responsive.
help
It
the
seems
player.
like you can kind of turn, you can
Yeah.
shoot, you can do all those kind of things.
Mhm.
It's pretty obvious what you need to do because you start off in the corner of the map and you've got to explore, and almost straight away you run into
Spiders.
the spiders or whatever
Yeah.
they are. And also there's a nice bit of variety in the levels. You've got that kind of the built-up area in the middle. You've got
Well,
the kind of
this
the
is-
open areas to the sides.
This is interesting. The spiders are moving and attacking me, even though I haven't clicked the play button.
Oh right.
So
Um,
I'm literally locked into
So you're
not being able.
yeah.
That play
Yeah.
button just shouldn't be there.
Yeah,
it
that
should,
play
should
button
just
is-
already be in.
I think that's a big mistake. They should have started you off, even if on a corridor away from the map, where all you could do is run towards the map, and as you ran towards the
Yeah.
map, the
And you
text
learn
comes
to
up.
move, shoot the door
Yeah.
to open it, so you learn to
Yeah.
shoot or something like that. Yeah, the problem is by just doing this text dump, you're not really engaging the player.
Yeah.
As for the core dynamics, as I say, although it's quite fun to sort of play and things, it's sort of mixed between the sort of survival and destruction. And the question of meaningful play comes because it's not obvious
Yeah.
if you can actually finish the level. We
No.
shot for a while there, and your score was going up, but you never got to the end.
Yeah.
So it seems like it might be infinite, and you've got infinite ammo, so there's no reason to not
Yeah.
you're not managing that resource in any way.
What do you guys think of the level design?
So I like the two different open areas
Yeah,
with
sort
the
Shifts of tone.
and it kind of I think that's
Do you
kind
think
of
it
nice.
lends anything to the gameplay though?
I'm not sure it does. This is the thing, you see. It's
Yeah.
the problem is because it's just this sort of constant, forever shooting, and terrain typically is something under which in a shooting you would take cover, but they're just melee enemies, so they're just sort of slipping towards you.
I mean, it doesn't make it more difficult to move presumably through this terrain because you can't you get stuck on the trees, right?
Yeah.
can't
You have to
walk
make sure you don't get backed into
So,
the corner, maybe.
I mean, and it's quite a nice looking game. I mean, they've
Yeah.
obviously thought hard about putting the whole thing together. It looks and smells like a game, right?
Yeah.
But I think they've kind of
I think they've mixed their aesthetics a little bit. Like the cars are very cartoony,
yes,
but the buildings are quite realistic, and the
Yeah.
gun is like hyper realistic, and the
Yes.
trees look like lollipops, and it's
Yeah.
just the
It's
grass
very
is
flash.
like
I mean,
a super realistic
that
texture.
That
so
might be an artifact of just trying to
picking
get
free assets.
free
Yeah,
assets
yeah,
from the
no,
store.
I agree.
But you're right. I mean, I think for me, the main problems with this are to do with the tutorial being quite clunky, and that not the ambiguous core dynamic, and it not quite knowing what it wants to be. And I think once they'd made that decision, if they decided that it was going to be a destruction game, then they could have gone wholeheartedly
needs
for
to be-
that. If they decided it was a survival game, they could have played on that. But without making that decision, you're left with a little bit of a blank canvas.
I think it needs to be more well defined about what its objectives are, so you can have more meaningful play. You're not sure exactly what you're shooting towards, no pun intended, and the infinite ammo means you're not really balancing resources.
Yeah.
Okay.
So very nice. I mean, I really love that effect of the blood spatters on the lens and everything. So some nice bit here, and graphically quite nice. But yeah, just a bit to go, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Well, I think that brings us to the end of our third phase.
So there are 2 more games still to resolve that we've had technical issues with, which we may revisit in a minute.
Yeah. So what we may do, I think, is we've got 2, kind of the bees game, and one we've called the Untitled Landscape game. So I think what we'll do is we're going to have a look to see if we can get those up, and if we need to, we'll make another video available with those in them. But yeah, just to thank you again to everyone for putting in the effort for these games. It's been a lot of fun to go through them, a lot of fun to see what you've all done. Yeah, well done everybody, good job.
Brilliant.
Thanks everyone.
Cheers.
Okay, bye.
Okay.